living village. And we take both those words very seriously. It is living because it is one of the first buildings, it is the first building at Yale, but one of the first buildings at any university in the United States that is without carbon footprint, that gives back to its environment. It leaves no footprint and it is completely self-sustaining. It creates its own water, creates its own heat, creates its own air. It recycles waste, and it is a beautiful, beautiful building. And in fact, the energy it produces, we give to other parts of the complex there.
Mm.
So it is living, and it is a village. It ties into our fundamental commitment to building community with students, especially with those who are going to be future leaders. And so it's there on the quad at Yale Divinity School in New Haven, Connecticut, and it's to facilitate community development and life.
Mm. Tell me why, particularly in moments such as this, a village like this matters.
For two fundamental reasons, Tavis. Number one, as you know very well, we are in a climate crisis,
Hmm.
and that crisis means that we have to start to think in a new way about how we live in this world, especially in our environments, our built environments. And so it is important to offer some kind of witness of a different way of living, a place that not only does not harm its environment, does not exploit its place, but in a sense is embedded in the dirt itself, in the
Mm.
land and the air, and in the water itself, so that it is a part of nature. But it's also important to create a place that says to people, how do you want to live together?
Mm.
And how should you live together? So it's pushing against the fundamental problem of segregation in the way the built environment functions in this country and especially in the world.
Yeah, you'll appreciate the fact that Cornel West just left here, and we were having a deep conversation about empathy,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
about so many people in the Christian right who have started the term empathy as toxic and dangerous and sinful. And he and I just had a spirited conversation not long ago before you showed up today. He was just here in the last hour of our program.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
pushing
I'm glad
back
to
on.
follow the prophet.
Yeah, no, 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 no. We had a deep dialogue pushing back on notions of what it means to be concerned about our neighbor, right? And that's
Absolutely.
exactly what you're talking about right now. But there are too many voices on the right now in the era of Donald Trump who, again, are suggesting that empathy will send you to hell. People are
Man,
preaching, yeah.
I can tell you it's the most amazing occurrence we've seen in Christianity in this country for a long, long time to see the absolute overturning of the fundamental demand of Jesus
That's
to
right.
love your neighbor.
Yeah.
And how anybody could imagine that they would be a follower of Jesus Christ and think that you could have too much empathy.
Hmm. Yeah. I asked Dr. West this question at the close of our conversation. Let me ask you, since you went there. Let me follow you. We're gonna work our way into your text
Mhm.
in a moment here. But how do we read that? How do we read that we find ourselves in a moment where there is this growing chorus of folk out of a Christian religious tradition who are advancing a gospel. I'm putting that term in air quotes, advancing a gospel, advancing this notion that is antithetical to everything that first century Palestinian Jew named Jesus stood for.
You know, I think what it points to, we mentioned the climate crisis, but there's another crisis in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a moral crisis rooted in the fact that at this moment, if we're going to survive on this planet, there's going to need to be greater levels of selflessness and sacrifice to
Mm-hmm.
help one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fundamental reality, the kind of economic and social system that we have at this point, it's at a breaking point in terms of being able to address the needs that are in front of us. And so I think for many people, rather than enter the moment, step up to the moment and realize, especially if you're a Christian, that it means giving. It means to whom much has been given, much is required.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people are trying to find justification for not doing any more than they have done, Tavis.
Yeah, yeah.
Which means that this is a beautiful ideology that will allow you not to do any
Mm.
more
Mm.
than what you have done, especially in a moment when you know the money you have, the resources you have, the place you live, all of these things now, if you are a Christian, require a different level of sharing and giving
Mm,
if you're going to stay committed. And so for many people, I'd rather create a alternative Jesus, an alternative gospel that would not force me to do at this moment what has to be done.
yeah. Yeah. We talked about this residence hall at Yale. It is groundbreaking. Nothing like it in the country. Self-sustaining in all the ways that Dr. Jennings laid out a moment ago. But when we come forward, I want to give him a chance to just press a little bit harder. I want to double click, if you will, this terminology of eco-theological. We talked about the eco part of it, but I want him to link that to theology. What's a residence hall that is eco-friendly got to do with theology? We'll let him link those two things up, and I will jump from there. You're listening to the Right Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings, author and Yale Divinity School professor. I'm glad about it, on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay, yay!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day.
Severe plaque psoriasis. This is what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Imagine being a million miles away. Tremfya Kuselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. Indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed, with the Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings, author and Yale Divinity School professor. We are now at the point of celebrating 15 years since the publication and the release of his seminal text, The Christian Imagination, Theology, and the Origins of Race. I promise you we'll get into that for the rest of the hour when I get there, but I ain't there yet. Before I get there, I want to give him an opportunity to tell me what the link is between a residence hall at Yale and theology. Link it up for me, Doc.
Yeah. Glad to do so, Tavis. So this living village that we have built at Yale, it speaks profoundly to what is fundamental to our belief, and not only as an institution, but as Christians, and that is that we are creatures created by the living God, and which means that we are joined with other creatures. So the question becomes, how do you give witness that you are not simply creatures created to use other creatures, but that you're creatures living in community with other creatures? And so the living village is our way of giving witness to the fact that we are a part of God's creation, not to lord over it, not to rule it, but to be a part of it. And in that regard, to nurture and care for the creation that we are a part of. So that's part of it. The other reality for us is that we understand as Christians that what's fundamental to our faith is that the God who created all things has joined us in flesh and bone and dirt, become one with the creation. And so for us to become one with the creation, to follow that God, requires that we show by the way we live that we understand that deep and profound joining. And that joining was not just theoretical. It has to do with forming the kind of community that reflects the will of God. The will of God in terms of care and love and concern and support for one another and for all creatures. And so the living village is our way of saying this is what it means to be a Christian all the way down to the bone and the dirt. And of course, let me also say very quickly, not just for Christians, it's for anyone who wants very much to show that they understand that they are a creature alongside other creatures.
I love that. Creatures alongside other creatures. You don't get a theologian of the stature of Willie James Jennings on a program like this for an hour without putting this Negro to work, without without drilling just a little bit deeper. And so I'm going to make him work for the rest of this hour. And I want to make him work in this wise. Before I get into the text, the Christian imagination, theology, and the origins of race, I'm going to put him to work unpacking what I want to share with you now. I was in preparation for this conversation doing research, as I do for all of our conversations, coming here as best I can to be prepared to wrestle with brilliant minds like his and Cornel West. But I did some research on Black Americans and religion, and I want to offer some data points here, Professor Jennings, if I can, and then let you loose on this, and we're going to work our way from this into the book. I'm glad we have the entire hour here. So I think the audience will find this stuff interesting. I certainly did. And the Pew Research Center has done some pretty amazing research. They do this perennially, but this is some of the latest data about Black folk in particular and religion. Let me just give you 8 data points, and I'm going to cut the good doctor loose here to respond and opine as he will. Fact number 1, most Black Americans are still identified as Christians, though the number of those who identify as such has fallen dramatically since 2007. So most of us Black folks still identify as Christian, but the share who identify as such has fallen since 2007. There's your first fact. Secondly, by several measures, Black Americans are more religious than Americans of other races and ethnicities. So we are holding on to our song says, I'm holding on to my faith. We are holding on to our faith by several measures more than Americans of other races and ethnicities. Factoid number 3. Most Black Americans who are religiously unaffiliated say they do in fact believe in God. So even those of us who are unaffiliated religiously still say we believe in God. There's a God somewhere. Factoid number 4. Most Black adults who attend religious services at least a few times a year attend Black congregations. And so while we are seeing these mixed congregations all across the country, you see them on television programs and the like, most of us, Black folk at least, who attend religious services, still attend Black congregations. Factoid number 5. Black men are more likely than Black women to move away from Christianity as they age. As Black men get older, as Black men get older, more than Black women, we pull away from Christianity. We pull away from this affiliation. Factoid number 6. More Black women than men consider themselves very spiritual. Key phrase, very spiritual. More Black women than men consider themselves very spiritual. This is research from Pew. Factoid number 7, older Black adults are more likely than younger Black adults to describe themselves as very religious. So as time goes on, and Generation X and Y and Z and whatever number we are at now, whatever letter we are at now, older Black folks are still more likely than younger Black folk to describe themselves as very religious. And factoid number 8, I will stop here. Younger Black adults are more likely than their elders to believe in the spiritual energy of nature. Younger Black adults more likely than their elders to believe in the spiritual energy of nature. I will pause there. There are 8 factoids that tell a story. You can take the factoids as you will. You can take the story as a whole, but talk to me any way you will. The Right Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings.
Tavis, thank you for this. These factoids certainly speak part of the longer narrative of Black life in the West inside of Christianity. As I always like to say, Black folks had, and it's true of other peoples as well, but let's focus on Black folks, had three responses to the Christianity they were given. Response number one was to say, this is just a bunch of trash. It's just trash. I don't have nothing to do with it. And so you have folks who just rejected it. Response number two was because a knife was at their throat or a gun at their head. They said, okay, I'll accept this. I'll accept this thing called Christianity. And but it will simply be a foil for me to continue carrying on my indigenous, my native ways of devotion. Let's use that language. My native ways of devotion. I will in a sense integrate that into this, but I'm going to the facade will be Christianity, but I'm a Christian simply under the conditions of oppression and violence.
So you're accepting it under duress.
Right,
Okay.
right.
All right, I
And
got
so
you.
then there was a third response. And
Okay.
the third response, we need to think of this as an A and B, Tavis.
Okay.
3A were people who accepted Christianity and accepted with it a deeply derogatory vision of themselves.
Woo, Lord.
These are Black folks who said, I'm a Christian and I accept everything, everything that the master and the master class has said about me, about God, about how my life, it was terribly before they came. They accept everything. So we can say that it's a cancerous assimilation that they entered into. That's 3A.
Okay.
But then there is, Tavis, 3B. And 3B are people who said, I'm going to accept this Christianity, but not in the way that you are presenting it. I'm going to rethink it because I hear, and I want you to follow me here, I hear something beyond what you're saying. I see something beyond what you're presenting. And what I see is a different reality of this God than the one you're presenting. So to give you an example, a slave master might have sent a preacher to preach to his slaves and say, it is always wrong to steal. It's always wrong to steal. If you steal, God is watching you and God will punish you because God punishes anyone who steals. Well, these very wise slaves, they sat there and listened and thought, wait a minute, you stole me. You stole me. And so they're sitting there and think, okay, wait a minute. And so he says, God's going to punish anyone who steals. And these slaves will be, amen, God's going to punish people who steal. And if you steal, you're going to go to hell. Amen, you're going to go to hell.
That's it.
And they're hearing it. And then, but here's the other thing they hear. God is watching you. God is watching me. So the watching that the slave master understood as surveillance, the slave understood as care. God's not surveilling me. God is with me. And so it's that 3B that emerges as a profound, in a sense, counter Christianity to the Christianity being presented. Now, here's what's important for your listeners to understand.
Right.
And this gets back to these factoids. What I just described to you is not chronological. The reality of 1, 2, 3A and B existed in the same communities. They existed in the same churches. They existed in the same families. And depending on who you talk to, they may go from being 1 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to 3B on Tuesday and Saturday, which is to say the struggle of faith was then and it is now. That same reality of struggle has always been a part of our reality as Christians, which means when we think about Black folks and Christianity, it's always best to think of it as an ongoing conversation, an ongoing struggle to make sense of a faith alongside of a reality of white Christianity that has never had to reckon with what I've just been talking about. They've never had to think and reckon with what it means to struggle with a faith that has been presented in such toxic and horrible ways. And yet at the same time, people have been able to see, form, create, think through a different reality of faith.
Yeah.
But all that means, right, is that we have people who, from the very beginning, I don't I don't believe it. I think it's a bunch of noise. But I am spiritual, but I
Yeah.
don't believe that.
Yeah.
We've had people say, well, I take a little bit of this, I take a little bit of that, weave it together, and that's my form of faith.
Yeah.
Then you have in the community folks who are like, I'm going to be a part of the white Christian superstructure till the day I die because I don't see a problem. And then you have, but even within 3B, you have that struggle, how to interpret the Bible, how to understand it, how not to understand it like it was given to us, how to understand it in ways that are life-giving and liberating for Black people. And so this ongoing struggle goes from generation to generation. So it's not surprising.
Yeah.
It's not surprising that you would have older Black Christians, Black folk who attend church, to see things very differently than their children, especially at this moment, right?
Yeah.
Because at this moment, what so many of the 20-somethings and 30-somethings are saying is that the value of Christianity, the jury is still out for me on its value at this moment. And what's also important, and this ties into that second response and the third response, a faith that is tied to the dirt, a faith that is tied to life in the world, in nature. And for so many Black Christians, so many Black folk, that reality of being disconnected from the land has been a wound at the heart of our Christian faith.
So now I'm going to
So
stop
it
you.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. Go ahead. Finish that thought.
So it makes sense to me when you think about the current ways in which people are trying to separate being spiritual from being Christian, trying to separate what it means to believe in God as opposed to believe in the church. All of this makes sense to me. And it's inside that longer history of struggle, trying to make sense of a faith that has come to us in such a sordid way.
First of all, he's brilliant, as you can tell. Number one, that's why I had him on this program. Number two, he weaved all that Pew Research together quite nicely. I dropped 8 factoids. He weaved it all together very eloquently and beautifully in his response. Number three, he shouted me when he got to 3B. I'm sure he shouted you too. And I'm just laughing because I'm shouting on 3B, and I'm a Pentecostal, so a Hammond B3 is what helps me shout. So you can call it 3B or a Hammond B3, but he shouted me when he got to that last point. But now he's working his way into the text. I heard you, Doc. I heard you leaning into the text with Black people and being separated from the land. Now you're going straight away into the book, The Christian Imagination, Theology, and the Origins of Race. We will talk about that when we come forward. I can tell you right now what my first question is going to be when we come forward. These 3 points he lays out, 1, 2, 3, 3A and 3B. I want to go back to point number 1. The folk who just say it's trash. I ain't buying it. It's trash. Here's a question that I asked that might be sacrilegious. I don't know, but I do want to ask, given what he said a moment ago, what Dr. Jennings said a moment ago, whether or not there have been, how might I put this, deleterious effects that we have experienced born of our full embrace of this notion of Christianity. Don't cuss me out. Don't send me to hell. It's just a question. Are there deleterious effects that we have had to wrestle with born of our full embrace? For those in that, 3A, 3B category, even some of y'all in the 2 category. This is a question on behalf of those in the trash category, number 1. We'll let him unpack that when we come forward on Tavis, Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
I'm Bree
Lori Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump's pardon of Congressman Henry Cuellar adds drama to his South Texas seat race. Experts like UT San Antonio professor John Taylor say it hurts GOP chances.
You're undercutting what would be a viable Republican candidate in the 2026 election.
Redistricting shook up the congressional district as a big part of San Antonio that trended Democrat has been removed. With weeks left in office, Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams signed an order banning city officials from boycotting or divesting in Israel. He also directed the NYPD to explore new rules for protests near houses of worship after recent anti-Semitic chants outside a synagogue. And the long-awaited third season of the hit series Euphoria will be released in April. HBO made the announcement on Wednesday. Most of the original cast is returning, including Zendaya and Coleman Domingo. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Last night in Atlanta, the Clippers played like they had a clear conscience and the weight of the world was knocked off their shoulders. Did the removal of Chris Paul have something to do with that? A very debatable subject. The Clippers dominated Atlanta 115-92 to snap a 5-game losing streak. It was only the second time this season the Clippers held an opponent below 100 points. The Clippers gave up 98 points at Golden State on October 28 but lost that game. James Harden led the Clippers last night with 27 points and 9 assists. The Clippers' defense was so effective that Atlanta had only 14 free throw attempts. It was obvious the Clippers were in a better mood in their first game without Paul. The 12-time All-Star point guard and future Hall of Famer was released late Tuesday night for being too critical of the team. We'll see if Paul's departure keeps the Clippers in a feel-good atmosphere. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, the Right Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings, best-selling author of a classic seminal text called The Christian Imagination, Theology and the Origins of Race. Came out about 15 years ago. We're going to celebrate that and talk about that a little bit later in this conversation. Also a professor, of course, at Yale Divinity School, and honored to have him on this program. It's usually about this point of the program, when I come back from that break at the bottom of the hour, that I sort of reframe where we are in case you've just tuned in. I really can't do that today because this Negro was so brilliant in the first half of this conversation with those 3 points, 1, 2, 3, 3A, and 3B. I can't catch you up to speed. So if you missed the first half hour, check out the podcast when it's posted later tonight, and you'll hear what you missed in the first half hour. But for those who've been here for the entire hour, they know where we are in this conversation. And my question is born of that first point, the trash category, as you called it. And my question is whether or not, as heretical as this question, as sacrilegious as it may seem, let me ask it anyway, whether or not there have been ways that we would find injurious or inimical, things that we have suffered in that realm, in that vein, because of the absolute embrace that so many of us have of Christology.
My dear brother, exactly. There are the embrace of Christianity and the embrace of a faith brought to us in the way it was brought to us brought 3, I think, deep wounds that are a part of trying to think through this faith. Let me go through them quickly. All right. The first is the idea of providence. From the very beginning, Black folks being brought into this Christian faith. And of course, we know historically there were people of African descent who were Christian, before the advent of modern slavery. But speaking about those who, in a sense, were introduced to this inside the slave trade, one of the first fundamental struggles, one of the first wounds was to believe that somehow God, in God's infinite wisdom and understanding, wanted us to be slaves in order to bring us into the faith. And so people have been struggling with this idea of a God who, in a sense, is over all and guiding all. And yet we have suffered, Black flesh has suffered. And so for so many people, the idea of providence has been such a painful and difficult thing to try to work through. Now, theologically, there are ways to handle it, but let's be clear that it's not easy to handle. And the very idea of providence that God is guiding, when we look at the horror that Black flesh has faced for centuries, has been a deep wound that we have carried. So that's the first thing that we've been struggling with, and the first thing that in many ways, especially for those who don't know how to handle this idea of providence with the proper theological and intellectual care, it can become a weapon in children's hands that slice people all the time. And as I always tell my students, the foremost dangerous words that Christians have had to struggle with, the foremost dangerous words are God is in control. Those are incredibly dangerous words. And they have to be handled with incredible care. But the wound is people trying to handle it and cutting themselves at the same time. That's the first thing. Right. The second thing is that In our attempts to understand and interpret Scripture, to interpret the Bible, we have brought to it a deep commitment to patriarchy, a deep commitment to a particular way of seeing a good society ordered that have men at the center, men at the top, and women always below men. That fundamental commitment to patriarchy as the way in which God would create the perfect society, the perfect home, the healthiest government, has been another deep, horrible wound that we have inherited, brought with Christianity. And so for so many people, we have yet to understand that the very idea of a society that is only right, only good when men are in control is a profound heresy. But for so many of us, it's that very idea, that set of ideas that we've brought to the way we read the Bible. And then the third matter has to do with the body. The colonialists, wherever they were, one of the most important things they wanted to do was to control the land and control bodies. And so they presented a Christianity that front loads control, that front loads the idea that the body is bad, the body is a wild beast that has to be controlled. And so for so many Christians, their fundamental introduction to Christianity is that it's going to help you control your body. And that very idea is already a fundamental distortion of Christianity. The first word of the gospel is not God has not come to help you control your body. God loves you and loves your body. That's first. But the reality is that we were given what has been known as a form of governmentality that has been embedded in our spirituality, so that we think that what it means to be spiritual and to, in a sense, be obedient to God and to show our love of God is to act in ways that show we have complete and total control over our bodies, our passions, our attitudes. All of that becomes the first and most important thing of the Christian life. And that's a distortion. And for so many people who are in number one, any of these have led them to say it's a bunch of trash. Because what it said to me is that my body is a bad thing. What it said to me is that if I'm a woman, and I want to my full humanity be recognized, I can't do it in Christianity. And if you're going to tell me that God is in control and I'm looking at the mess we're facing, I don't want to have nothing to do with that God. So these are the three things that have come with the faith. And in many ways, they are inescapable problems that are also inescapable wounds unless we know how to think theologically all the way through them.
I'm in category 3B, but I resonate with them folk in category 1. I understand. I understand how they got in that category. Let me just leave it there. I want to read very quickly here. My time is getting tight. I'm pushing to the top of the hour, and this conversation is almost over. But I do want to spend just a few minutes in celebration of his seminal text, The Christian Imagination, Theology and the Origins of Race, 15 years after its publication. But let me just read a couple sentences here, 3 in fact, from this book, Christian Imagination, and I will let him loose on this when we come forward. I read from the text. There is within Christianity a breathtakingly powerful way to imagine and enact the social, to imagine and enact connection and belonging. I'm marrying phrases here, marrying passages here. I quote again. This book attempts to narrate exactly what is missing, what thwarts the deepest reality of the Christian social imagination. Indeed, I argue here that Christianity in the Western world lives and moves within a diseased social imagination. We were talking earlier, Dr. Cornel West, about empathy and how empathy has become a sin, dangerous, toxic in the Christian right these days. That's the message that we're getting. Dr. Jennings argues in this text that Christianity in the Western world lives and moves within a diseased social imagination. I'll let him take it from there when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
KBLA Talk 1580 remembers Robin Ayers on the 1-year anniversary of her passing. 1 year ago this week, we lost a remarkable and vibrant voice. Robin Ayers touched countless lives through her passion, her love, her service, and her smile, which you could see through the radio. KBLA Talk 1580 honors her memory and celebrates the legacy she left behind. Robin, your spirit lives on in every conversation, in every connection, and in every one of us, inspired by your voice. Gone, but never forgotten. KBLA Talk 1580, where voices matter.
I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns. I'm missing you. Tell me why the road.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay, yay!
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings, author, professor at Yale Divinity School, author of the classic text, The Christian Imagination, Theology, and the Origins of Race. So you argue in this book, I repeat, that within Christianity, there is a breathtakingly powerful way, your words, to imagine and enact the social, to imagine and enact connection and belonging amongst us. But then you say that Christianity in the Western world lives and moves within a diseased social imagination. Take it away.
So, Tavis, very briefly, and people who've looked at the book and your listeners who haven't, of course, I'm encouraging them to get it. But the fundamental problem that we have inherited is that the Christianity that came to the New Worlds and that came to many parts of Africa is a Christianity that separated people from land. Mm-hmm. And so the ways in which we are connected to land is tied to the ways in which we connect to one another. And so without that deep sense of connection to land, it hollowed out our sense of relation and relationality with other people. And so the kind of Christianity we got did precisely that. And so within Christianity itself, however, there's a different vision that's always been there, that to love the earth, to connect to the land, not as property, but to connect to the land as a part of us, connect to water and the land and the environment, and is tied inextricably to how we connect to one another, how we relate to one another. And it's that joined sense of connection to place and land and animals and to people that in a fundamental way should have guided what it means to be a Christian in the world. And without that, it's meant that we've treated both people and land as commodity and as thing to be exploited, as object. That is the fundamental flaw that is inside the Christianity that we have inherited.
All these years later, is it possible, how might I put this, is it possible to course correct from that Christianity that we inherited?
Yes, and this is part of my great hope. And as we begin our time together, part of what we're doing at Yale with the Living Village is to try to help students think differently about what it means to have faith in the world. So here's what we want people to do.
Okay.
We want them to think about the care of the land, wherever they are, the care of places, but also the care of people at the same time. So that the depth of your care for what happens in your community, the quality of water, the quality of air, the transportation system, what's known as the built environment, should be tied inextricably to your concern and care for people. And so you should want the same level of care and flourishing that you want for the environment for every person that's around you. So we want people to become geographically aware, geographically sensitive, and in fact, bring a kind of moral compass to the way they live in place. So that can happen if we can get people to start thinking their faith, not just in terms of what's going on inside of them, not just in terms of person-to-person relationships, but also in terms of the built environment, the neighborhood, the way it's shaped, who lives here, do they have resources, what's missing from a high quality of life in this place where I live.
Neither he nor I or our God, we don't have a crystal ball. But I do want to close this conversation when we come forward by circling back to what we discussed earlier. In case you missed it, again, check the podcast out later tonight when it's posted. I shared some data points with Professor Dr. Jennings, some key facts about Black Americans and religion. Some research has been done by the Pew Research Center, and he opined on those data points. But I do want to close by asking, again, not that he has a crystal ball, what he sees into the future vis-a-vis Black folk and our faith. What's the future look like for Black folk and the abiding faith that so many of us have professed down through the generations? What's the future look like? That's the exit question when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and the Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings, author of the book, The Christian Imagination, Theology, and the Origins of Race, professor at Yale Divinity School, and just all-around brilliant brother who I've honored, enjoyed in having on this program for the last hour. I've got 2.5, 3 minutes left. I will yield it to the brother from Yale Divinity School. The book, again, is called The Christian Imagination. Can you imagine the future of black folk and our faith journey, given the data points we shared earlier, Dr. Jennings, I'm sorry.
Yes, my dear brother, and thank you again for allowing me to be on your wonderful show. I believe there's a very bright Christian future for those who are inside the faith. And what I mean by that is there are so many people now who understand the faith is about the dirt. It's about living in the land, and it's about creating community and how we eat, how we grow our food, how we live together. And so what I see as we move into the future are churches, many churches that are deeply committed to the land and committed to their communities, who have gardens and who have community services and who have buildings that are like the Living Village, are carbon neutral, that give back, and a faith that understands that we are creatures. And as creatures, we share a common destiny inside of God's love. And so I believe that what we're going to be seeing are more and more people who articulate a faith that is, as I like to say, bone and dirt bound, and who then live that out in everything that they do. Yeah. That the kind of health that they show, that they give witness to, is not only about their bodies, but about their communities and about their love for God.
Yeah. Little Birdie told me that you're working on a 2-volume project coming to us in the future. Can you say a quick word about that? What you're working on?
I will. I'm working on a 2-volume project on the Doctrine of Creation. Volume 1 will be about race, theology, and the built environment, about neighborhoods, housing, development, real estate, and the need for a deep theological and moral compass to be brought to that work. We are in, as you know, not only an environmental crisis, but we're in a housing crisis, but it's also a crisis, not simply of affordability, but of the way in which we build housing. It has to fundamentally change. And so in this next book, I'm presenting a different vision of what it means to build dwelling together.
Yeah. I love his frame. It's not just about affordability, with all due respect to Zoran Mondani and his victory in New York City. It's more than just a conversation about affordability. It's about how we do what we do. And I look forward to that 2-volume project coming in the months and years to come. He is the Reverend Dr. Willie James Jennings, again, author of that classic text, The Christian Imagination, Theology, and the Origins of Race, at the Yale Divinity School. Dr. Jennings, thank you for this hour. It has been even more delicious than I thought it was going to be. Thank you for the meal, and I hope to talk to you soon, my friend.
I hope so, my brother. Thank you.
Stay strong. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Tomorrow is Friday, so tomorrow is the best of Tavis Smiley on these stations across America. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in. And as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump's pardon of Congressman Henry Cuellar adds drama to his South Texas seat race. Experts like UT San Antonio professor John Taylor say it hurts GOP chances.
You're undercutting what would be a viable Republican candidate in the 2026 election.
Redistricting shook up the congressional district as a big part of San Antonio that trended Democrat has been removed. With weeks left in office, Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams signed an order banning city officials from boycotting or divesting in Israel. He also directed the NYPD to explore new rules for protests near houses of worship after recent anti-Semitic chants outside a synagogue. And the long-awaited third season of the hit series Euphoria will be released in April. HBO made the announcement on Wednesday. Most of the original cast is returning, including Zendaya and Coleman Domingo. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393. Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA.